to Anthony Ingerson. Anthony, you're a teammate of Jim's. What does being at this event today mean to you?
A fair bit, actually. Jim was one of my best mates, and my family and his family are pretty close with our kids and everything, so he had a huge influence over my life, and we actually roomed together, so we've got, unlike Garry, who talks to the stories that he does, I had some different stories, and most of them are about the fact that he was big and he always got the double bed, whereas I always got the little single shitty one pull-out thing in the corner. And yeah, we had a lot of fun times together, to be honest.
Not as bad as Gary's Aboriginal joke.
No, not as bad as Gary's Aboriginal joke, but Jim was pretty particular, and pretty much if it wasn't Jim's way, he had to do something about it. So I think I just lucked into the fact that I was rooming with him because I was the newest in the team or something, because everyone had a gut full of him. But he and I had great times together over my playing time at Melbourne for about 5 or 6 years. And yeah, I'm very privileged to have known Jim Stynes, that's for sure.
You've bought the book. I'm gathering that two of the books. Well, I'm gathering that when you get home, the book that you're currently reading, that'll go away and that'll come out.
It will. 50 Shades of Grey, I'll have to sit over to the side for 10 minutes, and while I read Jim's book, a lot more interesting probably.
Now, what are you doing nowadays? Obviously not involved in football?
No, I'm not involved with footy. I'm a builder. I have been pretty much all my footy career, so I do that. I run a small construction company which keeps me entertained. So I wear clothes like this to look like I'm a builder. I'm pretty much a project manager. I don't do too much construction work myself, but that's all pretty good.
Absolutely fantastic. It was a touching time last year at the start of this year when Jim was going through his battle with cancer. Did you have any contact with him during the time?
Yeah, a fair bit actually, and yeah, I've done a lot. I've been involved with Reach with Jim and done all sorts of different things, and what we have, my wife and I have his kids a fair bit to help them out, and yeah, I was very lucky. In the last week of Jim's life, I saw him 3 times and had some pretty special times with him, and I've known Jim for 16, 17 years, and he's been probably one of the biggest influences on my life. So, yeah, he's a special man, and we all miss him. And it was actually interesting. One of the guys who worked for me, his partner passed away yesterday, and I was thinking about Jim a fair bit because it's the first since Jim's funeral I haven't had anyone close to me pass away. So I was thinking about Jim a lot yesterday. So anyway, yeah, he's a beautiful man.
Anthony, it's great to see you at the event supporting it. It's fantastic. Good on you, mate.
Thanks very much.
Anthony, My Journey, written by Jim Stynes with Warwick Green, a true inspiration and memoir on such a wonderful man's life. And I'm here talking now with Mr. Warwick Green, who helped create this book along with Jim, the man himself. Warwick, congratulations. It's a marvellous reader. How long did it take for you to create the book?
Well, Jim probably pulled me aside in about June and said, yeah, I'd like to take some notes and see if you can knock them into shape for a book. And probably over the next 6 months we caught up and, you know, perhaps once a week and had a chat, and sometimes it was for the book and sometimes it was just to have a chat. And yeah, and during that time I was writing it, so probably the best part of 6 months, I'd say.
Now, is it fair to say that throughout Jim's public battle with cancer, you would have got pretty sick of him, you know? So, when the time came that he sort of left you, yes, he's gone.
No, actually, I just feel blessed that I had that time with him, and Sam had a bit of a joke about, I was sick of the sight of him by the end of it, but no, just being around him was always a pretty uplifting, inspiring sort of occasion, even if it was just, having a cup of coffee and a chat. Yeah, it was. He always left feeling better about life.
So when did you actually finish the book? Was it whilst Jim was in hospital or out of hospital?
Well, it was, probably 90% written by the time that he passed away in March, and then I just had to go back and do another 10%, which was really, really difficult emotionally. But yeah, that's sort of the time frame of writing the book.
We're here today. We've seen tons of people turn out to see the official book launch by Garry and by Sam. If Jim's looking down from heaven, what do you think he'd be saying?
I think he'd be having a bit of a laugh. He'd probably be telling them how they could do it better, because he always, thought he could do things better. So he'd probably be telling Sam where she went wrong. He'd probably be having a few jokes at Gary's expense, and I think he'd be enjoying the day, and it's a beautiful sunny day. I think he'd be enjoying it.
You must have some humorous memories of your time with Jim?
Yeah, probably more so from I've known him since we were both 18-year-olds, so probably more so from the time before he got sick. But even when he was sick and in pain, he didn't lose his sense of humour, and he always had a bit of a mischievous streak. When he was in hospital, he was always playing pranks with the nurses and stuff. So yeah, he was a funny guy. Yeah.
Yes, well, fancy thinking that Garry Lyon was the first Aboriginal that he ever met.
Yeah. That was his one good joke, and he used to trot it out all the time. And Garry,
one good joke.
Yeah, that was his...
So the others were crap, were they?
The others were crap. Yeah. No, yeah. He wasn't. He'd always muck up his jokes and his punchlines, but that was his one good joke. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's going to be a terrific read. I'm looking forward to going home and reading that first chapter ASAP. And congratulations once again. Thanks for having a chat.
Thanks, no worries at all. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope all your listeners and they enjoyed it as well.
Good on your work. Well, Sam Stynes, wife of Jim Stynes, who's a marvellous bloke. He's put together, belated wife of Jim Stynes. Okay, yes. Look, it's an awesome book with Warwick Green that the two of them have put together. You've been an inspiration. What's it been like since the passing?
Oh, wow.
Been hard.
Yeah, big question. Look, it's been tough, it's been abstract, it's been surreal, it's been sad. We've had lots of laughs remembering Jim. But, we're doing okay. I mean, obviously we would strongly prefer he's still with us, but he's not. We don't have any say over that, so we just keep on keeping on.
Well, we've seen the official launch of this book today. Tell us a bit about it. How long did it take the two of them to put it together?
Look, Jim kept a diary throughout his illness, and then Warwick Green pulled it all together pretty quickly, actually. In about 8 months he did that, and he was on some pretty tight deadlines. He had to go down to the seaside and hire a house for a month and hide himself away. But so it's a bit of an ongoing process.
And you're a true inspiration throughout Jim's battle with cancer. I mean, it must have been tough on yourself, going through all that.
Oh, look, I was. I mean, it brings the rooster home to roost. It's, you can't really hide from anything fighting cancer. It's all there in black and white, and you have to face it and get on with things.
There's been a lot of people that have turned out today to see this book being launched. Jim's up above, watching down. What do you think he'd be saying?
Look, I can feel him. I reckon he's up there, master puppeteering a lot of things. I think he'd be really happy with the book. I mean, he had a fairly sizable ego. I reckon he'd like that. He'd just feel good. I think he'd be really happy with the book and what's in it and the photos, and it's a really nice testament to his life here.
We all know that Jim was capable of cracking a good joke, and we heard Garry up on stage, Jim saying that he was the first Aboriginal that I've ever met. I don't know what was going through his mind at the time, but what was he like at home? Was he a family man?
Very much so. He loved kids. Kids loved Jim. We used to call him, the Pied Piper, or Peter Pan. He was very good with kids, and they were they just liked hanging out with him, and he embraced kids and where they were at. And he was a great family man.
Also, his involvement with the Reach Foundation, huge charity. Are you still involved? Doing some work with the Reach?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'll get more involved, in time. I've just been taking it slowly at the moment, but absolutely, I'll stay involved. It's a great organisation, great programs for teenagers, and I'm really passionate that Reach keeps on keeping on.
Absolutely fantastic. Jim Stynes was a legend at the Melbourne Football Club, a true inspiration, and we're here to support you as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And Mr. Brian Stynes. Brian, fantastic event here today, the book launch of Jim's, and what do you think Jim would be saying up in heaven, watching down?
I think he would have had a good laugh at Garry Lyon's joke at the start.
I don't know how he got that one wrong.
That is very funny, and I can see the similarities. But I think I think when I came along here, I suppose with Jimmy, it's like he's talking to us again. He's got another event, because he sort of had events all the way through his life in Australia, and so he's still doing it from the grave, But
it seems that even though he's not here, he's still one up on us.
Yeah, he's still talking to us, so and having an event. So look, but it's the book. I've started reading the book, obviously, and I've got about halfway through it, and it is a very good read. Very good read.
How long did it actually take? Jim would have spoken to you throughout writing the book. How long did it actually take him to put it together?
Yeah, look, as I said, he did have a book years ago, you know, so I mean they sort of condensed that into about 3 chapters, and then sort of the rest of it was just sort of his journey with cancer, and Warwick did a lot of time with him and spent, you know, to get all that stuff, and Jim was writing notes before he got Warwick obviously onto it, and so it just sort of formulated itself and became, then he decided to do a book, you know, and so it's something to leave for the rest of his family, you know.
It would have been a very touching time for your own self, you know, start of the year when Jim was slowly, you know, going downhill. How did you manage to cope yourself?
Yeah, look, it's I suppose, look, it's not everybody, but a lot of people have to go through the same thing. In our case, it was a little bit probably more difficult in that you had to do it publicly. For Jimmy and I suppose for us, you know, he would try to make sure he told us everything before it kind of got on the media, you know. So sometimes people would, you know, be telling you, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, you know, and be going, oh, is he? And you kind of ring Jimmy, go, no, that's not right, you know. But but it had its moments, you know. But you know, that's the way Jimmy wanted to do it, and you know, we all supported him.
He kind of had his own way coming on board, helping the Melbourne Football Club reduce their own debt. And also the footy club, I mean, they've been incredibly supportive.
Yeah, look, you couldn't have got any more support from Melbourne, you know, and I think, you know, the only thing you say, like, what is he thinking now, is he's looking down saying, what are we doing, you know, why aren't we winning some matches, you know, and that's exactly what he'd be saying. And, you know, so hopefully we can really, you know, kind of do a good pre-season and turn it around next year and give him, you know, some reward for the work he did, because he did an awful lot of work there.
Indeed he did. You yourself played a few games for the Melbourne Football Club, not as many as your brother though.
No, a little bit less. I played 2. Yeah, look, it was
better than 1.
Yeah. No, it was a good time though. You know, I learned a lot over here, and you know, we've all got different excuses why it didn't happen for us. You know, we can blame coaches, we blame different things, but at the end of the day, you know, it just didn't happen for me. But I didn't wait, you know, want to stay around dwelling. I just kind of went straight back home and continued my Gaelic career, and I was lucky enough to have another avenue to go to and still have a career. And at the end of the day, probably one of the highlights for me and Jim was that we got to play against each other for Australia against Ireland, and that was one of the kind of big moments
you'll remember
of my life to remember. And you know, and I suppose I also got to go back and play against a few of the stars from Australia that I reckoned I should have been able to play more games with, you know, so that was probably good for me.
Absolutely fantastic. You're now living out here. Do you go back to Ireland regularly?
Yeah, look, I probably go once a year. I'm going back again in a few weeks, and I've just been there. But jet lag, I'm just sort of getting over one and come back again. But look, it's I always try to get back. I love the football over there, and I still follow it from afar, you know. But my wife's Australian, you know. My kids have been here now. We've been here for 8 years, and this is our home. But you know, you still always have your where you're born. It's always with you, and you know.
We saw in the back of the book that Jim always wanted his ashes to be buried back home in Ireland. That must have been a hard process for the family to go through. Yeah,
that's right, and you know, we're still about to do that. So yeah, it's going to be it'll probably give us a bit of closure, and you know, and that'll be probably a good thing, you know. And it's when he said what he was going to do, and he was going to do it over there, it was you know, I thought it was a great idea, you know. And it's you know, the way he's doing it, a bit of him will be there forevermore, you know.
He was a true inspirational bloke, and you're a fantastic mate yourself, Brian. Thanks for having a chat.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. Been a fantastic morning / early afternoon down here at the MCG inside the Jim Stynes Room for the official book launch of Jim Stynes My Journey, written by Jim and also with Warwick Green. Absolute treasure indeed, and I recommend you all go out and buy yourself a copy, because it can seriously affect you when you finish reading it. I've got through the book myself, and I was truly touched once I put the book down at the end. But do go out and get yourself a copy. It's a fantastic read. As you see, we've had a chat with Sam. Couldn't have a chat with Garry Lyon. Had to rush off to another media conference. We've had a chat with Brian and with a few other footy personalities down here. It's been fantastic. My name's been Dougal Austin. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk Footy on Joy 94.9. Until next time, bye-bye.